We are now a week and a half past Titans training camp, and I thought, let's break down this little article from ESPN. Welcome into Titans Today by Chat Sports. I am your host, Brett Alper. ESPN, they ranked all 32 NFL teams. They projected the lineups, and they listed the top strength and weakness, the X factor, and a non-starter to watch. And the one thing that I saw right here is the Titans have the 28th best lineup in the NFL per ESPN. We're going to break that all down, but first, I have a little question for you Titans fans out there. I want you to name a random Titan from 2000 to 2010. It doesn't matter who it is. It could be any quarterback, wide receiver, tight end. Just pick a random Titan. For me, it was the guy whose first rookie card I've ever gotten, and that was Derek Mason. I was a huge fan of the tight end, excited to see him play, but you go down in the comments right now and let me know a random Titan. So let's go through just the rankings before we break it all down. Ravens, Eagles, Lions, Bills, Chiefs, Broncos, Commanders, Rams. Yeah, those are your top teams. Nothing really looks out of in particular. Then you have the Bengals. You got the 49ers, the Vikings, the Bucks. Packers at 14, Bears at 15. That's a really, really high rank. Chargers at 16. Then we get into kind of just like the nitty-gritty, your teams that are just going to be decent, but still a bit above average. I think the Cowboys are a little low. Cardinals at 17, Pittsburgh at 19. You see the Patriots, Jags, Raiders, and Dolphins rounding out 21 through 24. And then you have the bad teams. Colts at 25, Falcons at 26, Giants at 27. There's your Tennessee Titans at 28. Jets, Panthers, Browns. I think the Titans are better than all those teams. And, of course, the Saints are dead last. I think they're going to be the worst team in the NFL. I get the ranking. I understand going 28th overall, but you can only go up from here. I think the Titans are going to not be the fourth worst team in the NFL. You went to the offseason and you tried to get this team the best it could possibly be. Like, Mike Borgonzi has a plan in place. It's not, we're going to try to go from worst to first. The first season as the general manager, Brian Callahan coming in for his second year. Now, we know he's on the hot seat, but I think that Borgonzi has a plan to try and get this team just progressing better and better, and it starts with the first year. I don't think Cam Ward is going to be a Super Bowl contender in his first year as starting quarterback. That's just how it's going to go. But overall, I think this team is pointing in the right direction. And it starts with the biggest strength that they have on the field. And it's one of the best defensive tackles in the league. It is clearly your best player, and that's Jeffery Simmons. And ESPN, they got it right on the nail with that one. Like, it is no doubt about it that Jeffery Simmons is your best player because he is an absolute dog. Here's what ESPN had to say about Simmons. They said he's one of the league's best. His 26.5 sacks over the past 4 seasons ranks 6th among interior linemen. It appears Tennessee found a gem on day 2 of last year's draft, as T'Vondre Sweat was terrific as a rookie, posting PFF's 13th highest grade among 89 qualified defensive tackles. Veteran Sebastian Joseph Day is returning and will help fill out the terrific trio. Simmons, by far, is your best player, and he is your biggest strength. I also think that with T'Vondre Sweat and Sebastian Joseph Day, you're also getting Femi Oladejo from the draft, and you have Draymond Jones. Like, this is the best part of your team. It is that front, your interior 5. I'm not going to say maybe your front 7 because your linebackers are kind of meh. But with Jeffery Simmons, like, oh my God, this guy might be an All-Pro and a team that could only win 7 games max this year. I'm looking forward to watching him play. You could just see from the stats, 5.5 sacks the last 2 years, 7.5, 8.5, 76 tackles in 2024. And this is as a defensive tackle, as your nose tackle. And I think that he talked about how he's missed OTAs. He's talked about how he only showed up to minicamp, but he came in shape. He's lost about 20 pounds. He looks good. So I think he could be even better in 2025. And with this team, you have your edge rushers on the outside, I think that he could get another 8-sack season and obviously make it to a Pro Bowl because everybody makes it to the Pro Bowl at this point, but he could be in contention for an All-Pro team this year. Do you think Jeffery Simmons is a top 5 defensive tackle in the NFL? I got to go 100%. I think they came out with his Madden grades, and I think he was like the 5th overall defensive tackle in the league. Like, they respect him. I think the fans should respect him, and the NFL respects him. So go down in the comments right now, yes or no, if Jeffery Simmons is a top 5 defensive tackle. The biggest weakness, I just talked about it, kind of the linebackers, the rest of the front seven. And when you go in, like you have a completely raw prospect in Femi Oladejo, and you have a weak linebacker core, so that's where your weakness comes in. This is what ESPN had to say. Edge rusher Harold Landry, the Titans second among the Titans defenders in snaps, and linebacker Kenneth Murray Jr. were among Tennessee's notable offensive departures. Yeah, pretty much all the linebackers are gone from last year. That leaves Arden Key, career high of 6.5 sacks last season, as the team's top edge. I don't think he's going to be the top edge, as we've seen during training camp. But you have Draymond Jones, Lorenzo Carter, but he is later retired, and second-round pick Femi Oladejo competing for a prominent workload. Cody Barton is on his fourth team in 4 years, but he has registered 100-plus tackles in each of the last 3 seasons. And let's kind of just talk about Cody Barton, because he has kind of been that surprise breakout player throughout training camp, only because he's just all over the field. I talked about it in many videos that he is making Cam Ward's life a living hell. He has picked him off 3 times in these offseason workouts, in training camp, in mini camp. He has absolutely dominated on this field. And I think with Cody Barton having that experience coming over from Denver, also playing in Seattle, just that experience is also helping a lot. See, and with the rest of your interior linebackers, I don't know if that is the best. Now, I have Otis Reese as your interior linebacker too, and Cedric Gray, but there is one guy in particular, and that's James Williams, who has completely broken out of his shell, and it looks like he's going to be your second linebacker, because he's coming over from being a safety where he's played a bunch, and now he's going into his second season going into linebacker, and he looks really good. Talking about the edges, you had Arden Key, but I think Femi Oladejo is going to, at some point, start during the season. He's a little raw, but he needs some development. He's only played 1 year of edge. He was coming in from being an interior linebacker, and then at UCLA in his final season, he played edge rusher, but you can see the potential that he has, and I think going throughout the season, getting those NFL reps, getting some actual game time, he is going to be a solid edge rusher for this Tennessee Titans team. Now we have the X factor, and this is going to determine every single thing about this team, and that is the offensive line, because there is a big question about is this offensive line going to be good, and that was probably the biggest priority for Mike Borgonzi going into this season, was to improve the offensive line to protect your quarterback. Here's what ESPN had to say. This is the roundabout answer to developing rookie quarterback Cam Ward, but there's a wide range of outcomes for this group. New left tackle Dan Moore Jr. is coming off a solid pass protection season with the Steelers, but has been unreliable. Left guard Peter Skronsky is a young ascending player, while Lloyd Cushenberry III has been a good pass protecting center recently, but ranked last in pass block win rate there last year. I will say he's still on the PUP list, so we don't know coming off that Achilles injury if he's going to be 100% healthy for week 1. Kevin Zeitler is always good, but he's 35, and second-year lineman J.C. Latham was okay in pass protection last year at left tackle, but he's moving to right tackle, so there's upside there, and there's also downside. I'm not going to say there's any downside to Latham at right tackle. He has played in training camp very well. And when you look at this offensive line, you gave that huge contract to Dan Moore Jr. Peter Skronsky is getting better as it goes. I'm a little concerned about Lloyd Cushenberry if he's going to be healthy, but I think once he comes back healthy, the Titans are kind of easing him in back to the roster, just because Achilles injuries are nothing to play around with. And then Kevin Zeitler, a veteran. And the biggest thing that I have on this team is J.C. Latham moving to his original spot. You could see, this is from one of the training camps. Now he's playing at right tackle, where he's originally played. You see this. Tweet from Teron Davenport. Very impressive throw from Cam Ward to Ridley, 20 yards downfield. Yeah, that's great to see, but this is what I really want to see. J.C. Latham was able to drive Draymond Jones to the ground while Ward stepped up and threw it from the opposite hash right on the money. That's what you want to see out of your right tackle, to have perfect pass protection for your quarterback. And I think that him being in the right spot, because we saw how good he was at Alabama at right tackle, now that he's playing in his original spot, it's going to be perfect, and you could see him already starting to improve. He's also coming to camp 30 pounds lighter. He looks good, and he's really going in saying, all right, I had a bad season in 2024, or go back in 2025 and be determined to become one of the best linemen that you were supposed to be coming out of the draft. And I talked about Cushenberry. He's still on the PUP list, but I'm a little concerned, but overall, he's showing up to camp. He's still there, but he's on the PUP list. And the Titans have until August 26th. That's 25 days from now, as we're recording this video, 25 days away until he gets off. So it's very important that they can get him in by that date, or else he's going to lose. He's going to have to miss 4 games. Overall, you got to protect Cam Ward. And you saw that tweet because he drives him to the ground, gets time to throw. If Cam Ward gets time to throw, this team will be successful. If not, if he's running around, you're going to see a lot of struggles with Ward throughout this year. Going to get into the starting lineups of this team, the projections. But first, this deal for you guys right now, Titans hoodies are as low as $29.99. And you go to chatsports.com/Titans hoodie. You can get this deal. You can get this nice gray hoodie on sale right now, but you got to do it while supplies last because they're not going to be on sale forever, people. Once the football season comes, that price is going to jump right back up to $70. So get yours today, chatsports.com/Titans hoodie. We'll have that in the comments and description of today's video. All right. Now the starting lineup. And there's not really that much kind of like, whoa, this is kind of scary. Like, this is a lot of changes are coming to this. No, it's pretty predictable on what this starting lineup is going to be, but let's just quickly go through this. Your quarterback and your running backs, Cam Ward, Tony Pollard. You also have Tajay Spears as your second running back, but overall, it's going to be these two guys. There is no surprise with that one, and Tajay Spears, I think he's going to be your solid, maybe third down back. I still wish the Titans had a bulldozing back because Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears are kind of the same guy. Pollard is just a lot better than Spears. Going into your wide receivers and tight ends, I was surprised to see that they only had one tight end. I think the Titans are going to run a lot of 12 personnel with Gunnar Helm and Chigakonkwo, but also, like, you see those 3 wide receivers, Tyler Lockett, Van Jefferson, and Calvin Ridley. I don't know if Tyler Lockett and Van Jefferson are going to be complete starters. Like, don't sleep on the rookie, Alec Manor. He is grinding, and throughout training camp, he's really stuck out to a lot of these coaches, and he's had a little bit of connection with Cam Ward. So I think he could possibly maybe jump. I'm not going to say Tyler Lockett because Lockett is your slot, but overall, it's going to be probably he could take Van Jefferson's spot going into week 1. Then you have your offensive line. And you saw my projected offensive line with the depth chart. There is no changes at here. You have Dan Moore, Skronsky, Cushenberry. If he's not there, that's when we'll have to make. Zeitler, and then J.C. Latham at right tackle. No surprises there. That is going to be your offensive line. So before we get into the defense, how about you grade the offense for the Tennessee Titans? Go down in the comments right now. A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know what you think the Titans' offensive grade is. I'm going to give it a C plus B minus. I got to see what you're going to be on the field after coming over being the worst team in the NFL. Going into your projected starters for the defense, Jeffery Simmons, Tavondre Sweat, Sebastian Joseph Day. They have Arden Key here and Draymond Jones, but me personally, I think Oladejo is going to be the starting edge rusher. I think that they really believe in the potential, and how else are you going to get better? You got to play. And they've seen him. Yeah, you've had some ups and downs in training camp, kind of getting put on your ass, but overall, you're getting to the quarterback, you're putting pressure. He's going to be, for my prediction, I think he's going to be the starting edge over Arden Key. Your linebackers, Cody Barton and James Williams. That's going to be your 2. James Williams has really shined in training camp. I think he's proven to Brian Callahan that he's going to be the starting linebacker, and Cody Barton's been all over the field, specifically in coverage. Look out for him this season. Going to your defensive backs, L'Jarius Sneed, Roger McCreary, Jarvis Brownlee Jr., Amani Hooker, and Xavier Woods. L'Jarius Sneed scares me a lot, and I still don't know what he's going to do because he's still on the PUP list, and he says he's healthy. He said he's 100% healthy about 3-4 weeks ago, and yet he didn't pass his physical. That's why he's still on the PUP list. So is he really healthy? I don't know. He had a cleanup on his knee, and that's really something to be concerned about. And also with the safeties, Amani Hooker and Xavier Woods are very solid, but don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if Kevin Winston gets into that starting role by the second half of the season because he is an absolute dog. That's going to do it for today's edition of Titans Today by Chat Sports. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We're covering training camp. We're covering preseason. So we got you all covered right here on Titans Today. So as always, tighten up.